Hi everyone, good evening and welcome back to Thorough Newspaper Analysis. Today is 20th of July and this entire video series, it's brought to you by LawSikho. So now let's head to the agenda for today. The first segment for today's discussion would be this, where we talk about this Indian Express article which is titled as Rajasthan Minimum Income Bill, its provisions and what makes this bill a unique piece of legislation. Now if you remember, a couple of days back, we did cover this topic and we also discussed the fact that soon this bill is going to be tabled before the concerned legislative house of the state of Rajasthan, and this is what has happened on Tuesday. So since the bill is now tabled, with this we get a clearer picture of its provisions and we're going to dive into the same while we take up this article for our discussion. Secondly, we talk about the important news articles in the national and international sphere. And thirdly, we have a look at the important legal developments of the day. So let's start with the TNA and first we take up this article. Let's understand the issue which is involved in this article at the very outset. So on Tuesday, the Ashok Gehlot government in the state of Rajasthan, he tabled this particular bill which is called the Rajasthan Minimum Guaranteed Income Bill for the year 2023. This bill, it effectively seeks to do this one thing, which is that it wants or seeks to cover the entire adult population of the state of Rajasthan to guaranteed wages and pensions. See, broadly, this bill covers three categories of rights, and the bill states that these, post the passage of this bill, and when the bill converts into an act, these three are going to be the rights that are going to be available to every adult of the state of Rajasthan. So, what are these three broad rights? The first is right to minimum guaranteed income. Once the bill is going to be passed, it is going to be the right of the concerned person who is covered under this bill to have access to minimum income which is guaranteed. So minimum guaranteed income is going to be a right. Secondly, right to guaranteed employment. And thirdly, right to guaranteed social security pension. Usually pensions or social security pensions, these are more in the realm of policy, but once the bill is going to come into effect and become an act, you can claim the access to get guaranteed social security pension as a matter of right. Now let's discuss these provisions one by one. And first we talk about the minimum guaranteed income related provision. So each adult citizen of the state of Rajasthan with this bill has been guaranteed a minimum income of 125 days per year. And when it comes to the urban population, the concerned scheme or yojana would be the Indira Gandhi Shahari Rozgar Guarantee Yojana. So under this yojana or scheme, an adult Rajasthani who is based in an urban area is going to get minimum income for 125 days of work per year. Secondly, when it comes to the rural population, the concerned scheme or yojana would be Manrega, which is popularly known as the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Next, the government, it will provide eligible categories of people. Who are these eligible categories of people? That is going to be dealt with later. So the eligible categories of people, they are also going to get a minimum pension of rupees 1,000. Now let's talk about the right pertaining to guaranteed employment. So the right to employment, it states that post the work in urban or rural employment schemes, the minimum wages, they should be paid weekly or in any case not later than a fortnight. Suppose you deliver your work under any of these schemes depending on where you live, there is going to be or the payment either weekly or at maximum fortnightly of the minimum wages that comes up post calculation. The state will designate for the purpose of implementing this entire program, the state is going to designate a program officer. What is going to be the eligibility or rank? So the program officer should not be below the rank of a block development officer in rural areas, and when it comes to the urban areas, it should be an executive officer of the local body. These officers are going to be deployed for the purpose of implementation of the act. Now, among other things, the program officers, they are also going to be duty bound to ensure that the work sites, it is within a radius of 5 kilometers of where the job card is registered, both in your urban area and in your rural area. So let's say I have a job card registered in my name and I live at XYZ place, either in urban or rural areas. Now, within the vicinity of 5 kilometers of the job card registered place, it is the duty of the concerned officer to make sure that a work site is found where I can go and render my service, my work. Secondly, if the program officer fails to provide employment within 15 days from the receipt of the application of the concerned person who wants to apply for getting work, so if he fails to do that, then the applicant shall be entitled to an unemployment allowance on a weekly basis, and in any case not later than fortnight. Now let's talk about the right pertaining to the minimum social security guaranteed pension. So every person who is falling in the categories of the following, which is if you're an old age person, if you're specially abled, if you are a widow, a single woman within prescribed eligibility criteria, then you're going to be entitled to a pension of rupees 1000. Initially, this was rupees 500. Now it has been increased to rupees 1000. And also, one of the features of this bill is that there is going to be an increment of 15% per annum on this amount of 1000. So that's also a welcome state. Now let's understand as to why the need of this bill was felt, or why this bill. So while announcing the scheme in his budget speech earlier this year, the chief minister of the state, he stated, and I quote, and this is in fact a very important message, and I believe this should be at the heart of every policy that is being carried out. It says, and I quote, he said, and I quote, the true measure of any society, it can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. So this was the focal point of all his government's policies. And last week, while he was interacting, the chief minister was interacting with the social security pension beneficiaries. Then also he said that, if the government is giving you 1000 rupees minimum pension, so that is not a favor, but it is something that should be done, because inflation is at high and it is the responsibility of the state, the government, to look after its people and especially the most vulnerable sections. Now let's quickly see as to how this bill is being perceived by the civil society and the people in general. So this bill, the social workers, they are happy with this bill and they're saying that it is first of its kind in some respects, and it is a welcomed legislation, and it has necessary measures in place. So this is the some portion of the civil workers, the social workers, they've shown satisfaction with respect to it. And now we proceed to the next segment for today. And now we proceed to the national news category update. The state of Tamil Nadu, it has topped NITI Aayog's Export Preparedness Index for the year 2020. For the year 2022, I'm sorry. So this is the third edition of this index, and it has been topped by the state of Tamil Nadu. As far as the purpose of this index is concerned, it is aimed at assessing the readiness of the states in terms of their export potential and performance. The state of Tamil Nadu, it is followed by the states of Karnataka, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, and Kerala in this particular order. Neeraj Akhoury, he is the new president of Cement Manufacturers Association. The Cement Manufacturers Association, which is the apex body of India's largest cement manufacturers, it has unanimously elected Neeraj Akhoury, this person here, as the man who is the managing director of Shri Cement, while Parth Jindal, who is the MD of JSW Cement, has been appointed as the vice president. This election, it occurred at its extraordinary general meeting, which was held on 14th of July this year. Now we come to the sports related updates. In Para Athletics World Championships, Ajeet Singh he has clinched the gold medal in the finals of the men's javelin throw F46 in the ongoing championships in Paris. He out a throw of 65.41 and he finished on the top of the charts. He broke the championship record, which was earlier held by a Chinese contender with a throw of 61.89. Satwiksairaj he smashes Guinness World Record with fastest hits during Korean Open. Star India shuttler, who is Satwiksairaj Rankareddy, he has set the Guinness World Record by a male player in badminton, recording a mind-boggling 565 kilometers an hour with his smash. Satwik, who along with his partner Chirag Shetty, they won the Indonesia Open Super 1000 recently. He thus has broken a decade-long record which was set in May of 2013 by Malaysian Tan Bon Hyong, who had produced a speed of 493 kilometers an hour. Sarbananda Sonowal he launches the curtain raiser of Global Maritime India Summit for the year 2023. The Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways it has launched the curtain raiser event of Global Maritime Summit for this year on 18th of July. The third edition of the summit it is going to be held in October of this year. This event it brought together government officials, influential stakeholders, renowned experts and visionaries maritime, and it highlighted India's strength in the sector and set the stage for fruitful collaborations and exploring new opportunities. This is an important update. So the opposition alliance for the upcoming Lok Sabha election, it has been named or renamed as India, which is Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance. This development it has come as top leaders of 26 opposition parties from they met in Bangalore for the purpose of discussing their strategies in the upcoming Lok Sabha election for taking down the current ruling government at the center. This is also an important update and an interesting one because Surat Diamond Boss, which is a diamond trade center promoted by the Surat Diamond Boss, it has been built in Gujarat's port city, which is Surat. And now this building, which is center for diamonds, it has become the world's largest office building and it has taken down Pentagon in US. NTPC it has received the prestigious Economic Times HR World Future Skills Awards for the year 2023 for best use of AI, AR, VR in learning and upskilling and best advance in creating an extended enterprise learning program. They were received by Shri Dilip Kumar Patel, who is Director HR, during a program which was held in Gurugram. The Director General of Foreign Trade, it implements the Advance Authorization Scheme under the Foreign Trade Policy, which allows duty-free import of inputs for export purposes. The eligibility of inputs is determined by sector-specific norms committees based on input-output norms. Om Birla, he releases a new prospectus for IGNOU. So he launched this prospectus in Braille script. The Indira Gandhi National Open University, it has released the IGNOU Braille script. This essentially is a sort of a script which is used for the purpose of reading by blind people. So there are dotted different patterns, raised dotted patterns, and a person who is unable to see can run his or her fingertips on the concerned paper and can figure out from the pattern as to what is written. So the prospectus, it was launched by the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and it equips individuals in reading this script with information about the institute regarding the programs, the admission process and its objectives and more. India, Kyrgyzstan, they are to intensify partnership to counter terror and combat radicalization. This decision to boost the bilateral security cooperation, this was taken at the second security dialogue in the capital city of Kyrgyzstan. And with this, we come to the international segment for exists UN brokered deal to export Ukrainian grain via the Black Sea. Russia's pulled out of the Black Sea Grain Initiative, which was a UN brokered accord that has made it possible for Ukraine to export tens of millions of tons of grains and oilseeds over the past year, even as the war rages on. This deal it was vital to keeping food flowing from Ukraine, which is a major bread basket. Now, with the Russian blockade of the ports last year, it threatened to cause a food shortage in parts of Africa. Russia's decision, it was therefore condemned by world leaders who said that this is going to affect some of the planet's poorest people in Africa particularly. Typhoon Talim, it disrupts Hong Kong. South China Sea, it witnesses the origin of Typhoon Talim causing Hong Kong, Vietnam and southern China their disaster mitigating measures. And now with this, we come to the legal update segment, and this update comes from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has observed that school transfer certificate, the TC, and extracts of the admission register, it cannot be relied when we are to determine the age of victims of a POCSO Act case. While acquitting an accused, the bench noted that wherever the dispute with respect to the arises in the context of her or him being a victim under the POCSO Act, then the courts have to take recourse to the steps indicated in Section 94 of the Juvenile Justice Act. This section provides sort of a directive as to what should be the manner of giving preference. So, let's say medical evidence should be preferred at the last, and what are the important other preference areas. Name of this particular matter is P. Yuva Prakash versus the state. On to the next update. Adoption deed it not is so the Karnataka High Court has held that an adoption deed or registered document it is not a must to prove the adoption of a child if conditions of valid adoption which are required under this legislation, which is the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act of 1956. So if they are established, then it is sufficient to prove the adoption. Name of this particular matter is NL Nadu versus BL Ananda. And this has brought us to an end of TNA. In case you want to get access to the free study materials that we curate or the TNA slides that we've used in this video, please feel free to join our Telegram channel using the barcode or the link in the description. These are the point of contacts in case you want to get in touch with us. Thank you for being with us.